Okay, get ready, because today we're going deep diving into something that I think kind of freaks everyone out, right? Identity theft. We've got excerpts from, what is it? How to Protect Yourself from Identity Theft, the PDF.
Yeah, and we're going to break it all down.
We're going to dissect it.
What's about, not scaring you.
Right.
It's about giving you the tools to protect yourself. We'll talk about how thieves operate, the tricks they use. But more importantly, you're going to leave this deep dive, hopefully, with concrete steps on how to, safeguard yourself.
I like your personal security briefing.
Exactly.
This guide, I gotta say, it doesn't mess around. It starts out with the worst case scenario. It's like, picture this, you're checking your bank account and boom, it's empty.
Gone. It's a harsh reality, but that's the point. It just highlights how, surprisingly easy it is to become a victim.
Right, because I think we all have that, oh, that won't happen to me.
Right, we have that false sense of security. But the methods, some of them are shockingly simple.
Yeah, okay, this one I thought was kind of gross. Dumpster diving.
Right.
I mean,
it's a classic.
It's a classic, but still, who knew that throwing away bills could be so risky?
Well, it's all about perspective. You see a pile of junk mail, right? But someone else sees, a discarded credit card offer. Maybe it's got your name on it, your address, partial address. To them, that's gold.
Oh, that's creepy.
That's a starting point, right?
Yeah.
To build a whole identity.
See, that's what makes you think twice about just chucking stuff in the trash.
Exactly. And it's not just about, physical documents these days. We've got shoulder surfing happening at ATMs. Oh, right. Literally someone looking over your shoulder while you're punching in your PIN.
Yeah.
Or skimming devices, attached to card readers. These things are almost invisible. You think you're making a normal transaction, but they're copying all your card details.
That's so unsettling. We're so vulnerable and we don't even realize it. And it's not just, like you said, getting your credit card or cleaning out your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
There are other consequences to this.
Right.
This guide goes beyond just, they're going to take your money, right?
Exactly. This guide, I think, does a really good job of highlighting that it's not just about the immediate financial hit. Think about this. You apply for a job, you're excited about it, and you get rejected. And the reason is a terrible credit score that you didn't even know you had. Debt racked up by somebody else using your name.
Wow. So it can impact literally your whole life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything. Your ability to get a loan, a car, even a mortgage.
Right.
Think about that. Denied a mortgage because of something that you didn't even do.
Ugh, it's honestly overwhelming to think about.
It is.
Okay, so enough of the doom and gloom, right?
Right. We got to find solutions.
Let's talk about how to protect ourselves.
Okay, so the good news is knowledge is power, and this guide, it lays it all out there. Practical steps, and you can start today. For example, shred everything.
Okay.
And I mean everything.
So that credit card offer that came in the mail.
Shred it. Bank statements.
Shred it.
Whole bills.
Shred.
You got it. Being mindful at the ATM. Cover the keypad when you're punching in your PIN. I know it sounds basic.
Right.
But honestly, it makes a difference.
It does. I already feel a little better just hearing these tips.
Yeah.
It's okay, these small things can actually make a difference. What else stood out to you in the guide?
Checking those credit card statements and really looking at them, not just glancing at the balance, but actually scrutinizing each transaction. See something that looks a little off?
Right, yeah.
Question it.
It's so easy to just skim those statements. I'm guilty of that.
Right. But we have to be more vigilant.
Yeah.
And that also goes for online scams, phishing attempts.
Oh, right, phishing.
These are designed to trick you into revealing your personal information.
Like those emails that look like they're from your bank, but something's just not quite right.
Exactly. It might look official, even the logo, but maybe there's a generic greeting, like they didn't address you by name. Maybe there's some typos, bad grammar. Usually legitimate companies are a little more careful.
Yeah, it's they're trying to lure you in.
Exactly. Like bait,
Yeah.
casting a wide net, hoping to catch someone slipping. And it's not just emails,
Right.
Fake websites, social media messages, even text messages now.
Oh, wow.
It's everywhere.
It's a full-on assault on our digital lives.
Pretty much.
So, okay, we got to be informed. The guide mentioned something about checking your credit report.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
Yeah.
That's a fundamental thing you can do. Regularly check your credit report. And not just one, all three bureaus.
Huh? Wait, there's 3?
Yeah, so you've got Equifax,
Okay.
Experian, and TransUnion. And don't just focus on the score. You got to dig into the details, make sure everything on there is accurate. Because, like we were talking about, sometimes there are things that pop up that aren't yours.
Right, right, like accounts you didn't open, stuff like that. Okay, so why all three? Why not just one?
Because they all get their information from different sources. So something might show up on one and not the others. Think of it as like getting a full picture, you know?
360 degrees.
Exactly. You want that complete view.
Okay, that makes sense. So let's say the worst does happen. Despite, like, our best efforts, we become a victim of identity theft. Damage control, what's the first thing we do?
Act fast. I mean, like really fast.
Okay.
Time is of the essence.
Oh.
So say you notice some weird transactions, on your bank account, credit card. Call the bank or the credit card company immediately. Don't wait.
Report it right away.
Report it right away. And then this is a good one. The guide recommends putting a fraud alert or even a credit freeze on your credit report.
Fraud alert, credit freeze, what's the difference?
So a fraud alert, it just means that creditors, they have to take extra steps to verify your identity before they issue any new credit. A credit freeze is more extreme.
Okay.
It, blocks access to your credit report completely.
Oh, wow. So no one can open anything new in your name.
Exactly. It can be kind of a pain, especially if you're planning to apply for new credit yourself, but honestly, it's a really effective way to just stop things in their tracks.
Right. Better safe than sorry. Okay, so we've talked about what we can do as individuals, but the guide also mentioned something about, like, the responsibility of companies, institutions. Because we've all heard about these massive data breaches, right?
Oh, yeah. And the guide actually brings up a really interesting case from, well, it was a while back now, 2005.
Okay.
Choice Point. They were this big data broker, and hackers, they got access to a ton of personal information.
Oh, no. How much are we talking?
A lot. Almost 140,000 people, names, social security numbers, addresses. It was a huge wake-up call for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, 2005. That seems like ages ago in internet time.
I know, right? But it
Well-
just goes to show that this is not a new problem.
Right, right.
And it can happen to even the biggest companies. I mean, there was another one, American Online, remember AOL?
Oh.
Hackers got into user accounts, stole a bunch of personal information there too. It makes you wonder, you trust these companies with your data, but are they doing everything they can to keep it safe?
Right. Like, how do we know?
Exactly. And that's where the guide, I think, gives some really good advice. Be proactive.
Okay.
Ask questions. Understand how these companies are protecting your data. Don't be afraid to switch if you're not happy with their answers.
So you're saying we have a right to, like, shop around and find a company that's taking our security seriously?
Absolutely. You have a voice, you have choices, you have more power than you think.
Yeah, it's almost like we've got to become, like, digital detectives or something these days.
Right?
You know?
I like that.
We've got to be on the lookout.
Yeah, we got to be savvy, understand how they operate, and protect ourselves. And, it's not always like external threats either, right? The guide talked about being careful about what information you share, even something as simple as a job application.
Oh, that's a good point. Because you're so excited maybe about the job, you're just like, here's all my information, take it.
Exactly. You're just filling out everything you're not even thinking. And that's where you got to, remember, question everything. Do they really need your social security number at this stage?
Right.
Probably not.
So it's okay to, like, push back a little bit, be like, hey, why do you need this? How are you going to protect this information?
Absolutely. A legitimate company, they should be upfront about their data protection policies. And you know what? If you don't feel comfortable with it, you don't have to give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away.
It's about, like, setting those boundaries, being in control. Some of those real-life stories that they share in the guide are really impactful. Like, they talked about this couple, the Smiths. They had that whole mortgage thing happen.
Oh, yeah. That one was tough. It just shows that even when you think you're doing everything right, things can still go wrong. Imagine being accused of fraud when you didn't do anything wrong.
Right, yeah.
Having to deal with legal action, debt collectors, the stress that they must have been under.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And the guide mentioned it took them, like, 3 years to clear their name.
3 years.
3 years
Wow.
to fight that.
It shows how hard it can be to undo that damage,
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of inspiring, though, in a way,
Yeah.
that they didn't give up, They stood up for
They are
themselves.
persistent.
Yeah, exactly. I got to say, this whole deep dive has been really eye-opening. Like, I feel like I came in feeling, like, kind of nervous about identity theft.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just like, I feel more informed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel empowered.
Good. That's what we want.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. This is just the start, right?
Right.
This guy, it gives you like the foundation, the knowledge, but it's up to you to stay informed, right?
Right.
Be aware of like new scams, new tactics that are out there.
Yeah, because those are always changing.
Oh yeah, constantly evolving. So you gotta stay ahead of the game.
Okay. So we've talked about, how identity theft works, what to do if it happens to you, even the responsibility of companies in all of this. Is there anything we missed?
I think we covered the big stuff. We talked about the practical steps, the legal stuff, but one thing that we didn't really touch on too much is the emotional toll this takes on people.
Oh, yeah. The guide focuses a lot on, like, the practical steps, the legal stuff, but it doesn't really get into, like, the emotional side of it.
Right, because it's a violation.
Yeah.
When somebody steals your identity, it's very personal. It can really shake you up.
Absolutely. That feeling of, like, vulnerability.
Yeah, the fear, the anxiety, that's real. That's a real consequence that we don't talk about enough.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think that's a really important thing for people to remember. This is about more than just, credit cards and social security numbers. It's about real people's lives.
Hmm.
So to everyone listening, stay informed, be vigilant, and remember, you're not alone in this.